IKEA is a multinational corporation that works to create a better everyday life for the many people through offering a wide range of well-designed, functional home furnishing products at prices so low that as many people as possible will be able to afford them. The company's founder, Ingvar Kamprad, is a Swedish-born entrepreneur who began his career selling matches, greeting cards, and Christmas decorations to his nearby neighbors. After receiving funding from his father in 1943, Kamprad went on to establish IKEA, which originated as a mail-order sales business, offering pens, wallets, picture frames, and table warmers. In 1948, IKEA expanded his product offerings to include furniture, which generated a positive response from consumers, prompting the expansion of its product line. In 1951, Kamprad saw an opportunity to sell furniture on a larger scale and began issuing an IKEA catalog, which continues to be a staple for the IKEA brand. Since then, the company has grown to become the world's largest retailer of home furnishing products, with 424 retail locations operating in 52 different countries around the world. Last year alone, the company generated a global revenue of approximately $58.2 billion, which is projected to increase in the upcoming fiscal years. IKEA's plan for future growth involves a continued focus on improving the quality, price, and accessibility of their products, while minimizing their environmental impact. The fundamental principle of the IKEA Group is to grow by using their own resources, and so the company will invest the majority of their profit into existing and new IKEA stores, product development, and sustainable solutions, all of which are functions of a company's supply chain.
A supply chain can be defined as the sequence of processes involved in the production and distribution of a commodity. In other words, it is a network that represents the different activities, people, information, and resources involved in the production and distribution of a product or service. The elements of a supply chain include product development, marketing, operations, distribution, finance, and customer service, all of which work simultaneously to ensure customer demand are met. In a supply chain, producers, vendors, warehouses, transportation companies, distribution centers, and retailers work together to move raw materials, components, and finished products from original suppliers to end users, making an extremely integrated process that requires management at every level. Managing the supply chain involves coordinating how products are made, when they are made, and the logistics behind the transportation of goods. When done effectively, supply chain management can lower costs and increase profitability, ultimately improving a company's competitive positioning. When coordinating a company's supply chain activities, it is important that supply chain management decisions align with the company vision and overall business strategy. As well, a company must decide how to best implement the plan to ensure all steps along the supply chain are integrated and communicated in order to achieve an optimized supply chain.
IKEA's supply chain is led by the company's vision, which, as mentioned earlier, is to provide well-designed, functional home furnishings at prices so low that as many people as possible will be able to afford them. In order to succeed in this vision, it is imperative that IKEA keep costs low through cost-cutting initiatives and strong supply chain management. IKEA aims to use as few materials as possible in order to cut down on transportation costs and employee costs when receiving materials. They make sure that in doing so, that they are not compromising on quality or durability. IKEA has over 1,800 suppliers in 50 countries, from which they receive their materials. The company also has 42 trading service offices who negotiate prices, manage relationships, perform quality assurance checks, and overlook the social working environment. Despite holding some degree of power over their many suppliers due to their size, IKEA prefers to sign long-term contracts with suppliers to lower their costs over time. The company also values the importance of environmental sustainability when purchasing and producing their products. Nearly 50% of the materials used in their products are recycled, and they will not compromise cost for negative environmental impacts. IKEA designs its products in a DIY fashion for countless reasons that all have a positive impact on their costs and their environmental impact. For starters, their products can be packaged efficiently in flat, small packages to minimize the space that they take up. Due to their small size of packages, they can be transported much more efficiently with more products in each load, reducing transportation costs. Additionally, the packages take up far less space in the warehouse, which allows for more units to be stored and holding costs to decrease. Lastly, due to the efficient packaging, the packaging costs can be decreased. IKEA stores are set up such that there is a warehouse adjoined to the showroom locations. The warehouse keeps the units strategically set up so that the customers can pick up the products from the bottom racks themselves. They store all additional inventory on the upper racks, and at night, forklifts are used to lower the additional stock to the bottom rack as needed. The idea of having customers retrieve the packages themselves is a tactic known as cost per touch inventory management. The idea of this is that the more hands that have to touch the inventory along the supply chain will increase the overall cost to the store. By having the customers retrieve their own products, the amount of touches are minimized, along with the cost. One unique aspect of IKEA's inventory management is having an in-store logistics manager. The purpose of having logistics managers at each location is to ensure that the supply chain is running smoothly. This means that the deliveries are being tracked and seamlessly moved to the proper designated stock area. Not only do they ensure the efficient flow, but they also use a replenishment management system created by IKEA called minimum/maximum setting. The system has a minimum amount of inventory setting for products that are required before reordering. The maximum setting represents the max amount of any particular product that can be ordered at any time. The system ensures that there is always sufficient inventory to satisfy customer demand, but also minimize the number of orders necessary for a product. The logistics manager uses point-of-sale data to forecast sales over the next couple of days. This forecast is used to order the inventory as needed. IKEA has high-flow facilities that are highly automated, as well as low-flow facilities that require more manual operations. The high-flow facilities are comprised of the 20% of stock-keeping units that make up 80% of the actual volume. These facilities have automatic storage and retrieval systems to reduce the cost per touch. The low-flow facilities have products that do not have the same demand as the high-flow products, and thus require far less storage and retrieval.
IKEA is distinctive in committing to a catalog of products that will be stocked for a year at a guaranteed price. Each IKEA store is massive and holds over 9,500 products. In order to do so effectively, certain supply chain efficiencies must be in place in order for the company to operate effectively. Some of these supply chain efficiency benefits are as follows. Through every stage of the IKEA supply chain, efficiencies are focused on upholding the company's vision. Products are designed to be as ergonomic as possible and use materials that can be created from sustainable sources. This means that IKEA is able to be consistent in its ability to satisfy suppliers and customers alike, and that all changes to the supply chain are done so that they meet specific goals aimed to better the entire operation. This makes managing the supply chain easier when it comes to key decisions and provides the benefits associated with their particular goals. Namely, this vision means that IKEA works in every way to be environmentally conscious by reducing waste, be able to accurately predict output, create long-lasting relationships with suppliers, which in turn allows them to drive down costs, minimize floating inventory, and ultimately provide low prices. IKEA doesn't think of waste as a singular item. They realize that it's a combination of several decisions. These include material choice and sourcing, product design, product storage, inventory management, and transportation. Savings can be made in any given category. For example, reducing inventory waste by limiting the number of on-site items. This means that each product for IKEA aligns with their goal of being more environmentally friendly, which is appealing to customers. People feel better knowing that whatever they're buying comes from a sustainable source. IKEA's inventory management techniques also play a huge part in making their supply chain so reliable and successful. Several techniques are combined with a focus on decreasing the cost per touch of each item, which results in lower costs, optimized systems, and an even better ability to predict what order sizes need to be known when restocking. However, most of the IKEA supply chain is analyzed through waste reduction. On the supplier end, this results in assessing the environmental status of their products, also the well-being of their workers, and the cost of their services. On IKEA's end, the focus is more on efficient inventory management, increasing productivity, and the cost per touch of each product. Combined, these focuses let IKEA implement a supply chain which is successful on pretty much every front. It ensures that products are stocked efficiently and on time, costs are greatly reduced, competitive product prices are possible, bad business practices, and thus PR, is also reduced, and suppliers are reliable due to long-term relationships.
After analyzing the refined supply chain of IKEA, it is apparent that there are components that can be improved through monitoring and maintenance. In terms of successes, IKEA has reduced transportation costs, effectively managed relationships with suppliers, and has implemented efficient inventory management systems. In addition to the above-mentioned successes, IKEA has placed a large importance on implementing environmental sustainability in every step of their supply chain. Due to the difficulty associated with this, it is really important for IKEA to balance their communicated efforts of improving environmental sustainability with their actual performance. In 2017, the end-to-end IKEA supply chain contributed 26 million tons of CO2, which is equivalent to about 0.1% of the world's total greenhouse gas emissions. Although this is a significant figure, studies show that the combined climate footprint of the operations IKEA controls is just 30% of the total emissions. In order to combat their contribution to total greenhouse gas emissions, as well as improve their environmental sustainability practices, IKEA has begun to develop a circular supply chain, where every product is designed and produced with its next use in mind. Because IKEA is only in the beginning stages of its final goal of achieving circular principles, it is important that they understand which element of the supply chain needs to be prioritized. In order to squeeze the most value out of the circular supply chain, we suggest that IKEA continues to go beyond basic investments in plastic recycling plants and focus more on strategic approaches that will help achieve true business value, such as adopting more sustainable forestry methods. As one of the largest users of wood in the retail sector, it is important for IKEA to increase investments in forestry in order to foster optimal forest health while simultaneously meeting customer demands. Through circular principles, IKEA can extend control across its supply chain and avoid environmentally harmful actions like plastic waste and illegal deforestation. IKEA is on the path of pushing other companies away from outdated supply chain management strategies in order to explore more suitable and personalized solutions.